Reverend Peterson, it is, and let me just set this off right quick. It is typically persons of your particular ideology, those who are more conservative, who want to take these swipes at black leaders. If I had a dime right now for every book that's on the shelf right now, including yours, but every book that's written by a so-called black conservative that's taking a swipe at black leadership, I'd be an independently wealthy man. Why is it that some who happen to be black, and Danny's right that we all have different styles, but why is it that those who are of a particular conservative ideology tend to more often than not take a swipe at black leadership in a very liberal, excuse the word, in a very liberal sort of way?
Well, you know, at Bond, we're rebuilding a family by rebuilding a man. Excuse me. And the problem with so-called black leadership is that they abuse black people for their own personal gain. People like Jesse Jackson and Maxine Waters, the NAACP, Louis Farrakhan, and Black Caucus and others, they have deliberately kept blacks down in order to gain power and wealth. And I used to be a liberal. I used to think the same way. I was controlled by these people. And instead of becoming a man, instead of becoming free, I got worse in life. And when I realized that they had lied to me by keeping me angry and demoralizing me, I overcame it. And as a result of overcoming that, I don't have a leader over me. I don't need no man and no woman to lead me. It should be an insult to black people, and especially black men, to put anyone else over them as a leader.
Speaking of insults, I cannot imagine that Louis Farrakhan, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, those names, those persons you just listed by name, I cannot imagine if they're watching this program, and indeed they do, and have been on this program, of course, any number of times, I cannot imagine that they would not be insulted by your statement, particularly the part where you say that you believe these leaders have deliberately held black folk down for power and for monetary and personal gain. That's more than provocative. That's ugly.
Let me give you examples. Let's take the public school system for an example. These people encourage black families to send their children to the public school system. And we all know that it's screwed up. It's not about academics. It's about social welfare or social services. But yet, they send their own children to private schools. The second thing, we all know that it takes a father and a mother to raise children, and yet they do everything they can to get the government to raise the children for the black families. I mean, if that's not hypocrisy, if that's not deliberate, then what is? Secondly, it is time that black people start thinking for themselves. Black people, not all of course, but most think in groups. They think in packs, and that's why they're all in the same hole. They're all suffering. They're all having the same problem because they think alike. We must be free thinkers. We have sense enough to know what is right and what is wrong. The second point, that in America, America is a country where Americans represent each other. And when I vote or when I want someone to represent me, it doesn't matter what color that person is, whether they're male or female. Do they represent the same character I represent?
I got to break in 20 seconds. Literally, you don't think that an African-American person can represent African-American people better, understanding their interests, their struggles,
I mean, if it's a black person who have character, but most of the blacks who are representing us now lack character.
Well, I'm certain that it is comfort to a number of white ears for people to hear that it is not white people's responsibility or problems or issues with regard to the community of African descent.
It's not white people's problem.
Wait a minute. And to suggest that all of a sudden now it's not white people's fault for the racism, for the institutional racism, and for the continuing assaults against African people. Of course there's racism.
White people are not making... White people are not...
So I'm sure this is comforting to many people to hear, to give people...
Hey, Liz. Let Jesse talk.
To say that it is not white people's fault.
Liz, white people are not causing boys and girls to go to beds and make babies out of wedlock. They're not causing young black boys and girls to commit...
Liz, hold on. Out of the bedroom and deal with the real issues that are here.
All right, let's call a truce.
That are here are racism. That's the problem here in America.
Liz doesn't want...
Liz, we're going to let you talk about racism. Let Jesse Lee Peterson talk for about the next minute. Go ahead, Jesse.
Liz wants to shout me down because she doesn't want the truth to get out. The one thing I do want to say, Pat, is that white America, there's this notion in the black community that white folks can't be honest about what is wrong with black people, and I say that's wrong. White Americans and blacks have a responsibility to tell the truth, because the truth is not a color, it's a character thing. And I think that white America has made a big mistake by allowing themselves to be intimidated by the NAACP, people like Liz, Jesse Jackson, and others. The truth should be able to come from anyone, because we're all going to suffer if we don't start dealing with the lack of morality within the black community. No, I've been stopped by police officers many times too. And when I was younger, I used to get angry about it because I had been told that it's because I'm black. And so whenever, especially a white cop stopped me, I automatically get angry. But I realized that over the last 40 years or so, not all black Americans, of course, but most have not disciplined their children. You know, crime is out of control in the black community. And so we ask the officers to come in and protect us. And when they come in, we get upset about it.
So what about incidents?
I was getting upset because I had been told by the so-called black leadership that it's racial profiling. They're coming after you because you're black, and I had no one else telling me anything differently than that. But when I dropped my anger and realized that sometimes the good have to suffer with the bad, it's easier now for me to go through that.
But in the case of Cortez...
What about incidences of when that's not the case? I'm a disciplined person, first of all. I was raised with a strong moral fiber. The last time I was stopped, I was walking across the street with 4 of my Caucasian friends, and I was stopped because the officer said by the way he saw me walking, I looked like I was carrying a weapon.
Were you? But you know...
Then they let you go.
It's a fair question. Were you?
No, I do not carry weapons.
You think some officer saw you walking down the street and said, "Hey, black guy, I think I'll go and bust him"?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Answer my question first.
Yes, I do, because you know what? He didn't even follow his own procedure. If he truly believed I have a weapon, why did he not call backup? Because that's the way they do their procedure.
Right.
He came up to me and said, "I believe you have a weapon." I said, "Well, where are the other cars?" Because if I really thought somebody had a weapon and I was an officer, I would take every precaution, and they are trained to do that.
Right.
And he didn't believe that. He pulled me out of a group of 4 other people, had me come out. He didn't search any of them for weapons. If he thought it was a dangerous situation, he would have stopped them and asked them for weapons.
Jesse,
he stopped me and only addressed me.
Sounds to me like he has been pulled over, stopped, just because he was black.
Well, if what he's saying is true, it's unfortunate that he has to go through that. But he should understand that it's because of we have not taken responsibility within the black community. Another thing, too, is that these young people...
taking responsibility for what? What are we taking responsibility for?
These young people tend to...
Are we guilty for everything?
Give the officers attitudes, too. You know, when they stop, they get loudmouth, they go off on the cops. And so the cops become uneasy because they don't know what they're dealing with at that point.
I think the cops get intimidated because I'm articulate. I think that's really what it comes down to. When the officer stopped me, he thought I was gonna just spit some game at him, and I didn't. I was like, "Sir, you're violating my civil rights. I have a right to assembly. I can walk across the street without being stopped." Okay? And if you truly believe that I'm a danger, why are you not stopping these other people that are with me? If you really believe that. 2 of my friends were visibly intoxicated, and he didn't say anything to them. Was he really concerned about the safety of me and my party? He didn't know who was driving. He didn't ask any of those questions.
You were with some whites too, weren't you?
I was with 4 Caucasians. I was the only African American in the group.
But what you have to realize, the officer is not stopping you to articulate. He's just doing a routine check.
He's doing a routine check.
If you follow his instructions,
he's doing his
you
job.
wouldn't have to go through that. But if you give him mouth,
he didn't lock him up. He didn't lock him up. He didn't have a gun. He looked like he had a gun. He didn't
How do you look like he had a gun?
Maybe he had a bulge. Maybe he had a bulge.
Come on, no, that's
And he didn't lock him up. He let him go.
You know what, though?
He let him go. He got him a record.
You know what? I got a bulge right now. What I got on me?
I don't know.
I got a bulge in my
right now?
I got a bulge
Security! Security! You got a bulge right now.
You know what I mean? I got a gun.
We live in a very, 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 mamma mia, hola, sí, señor, a very sick society, a very sick world, a very sick country today. A very sick and evil country. Our battle is a spiritual battle. It's not physical at all. And you've been lied to and been told that it's physical, and you believe it. And you're trying to solve spiritual issues with physical things. We have a sick government today. And they don't care because the people are sick, And they know that they can tell the people anything and the people will still vote them in over and over and over again because they're just like the people. The people who voted them in are the same as the government. It's mind-blowing to see that, to just see it. The world, there are two worlds, an illusion of a world outside of you, and then the real world inside. Which one will you live from? Because the outside world, which is created by people who inwardly are living in misery, they're living in hell, and they are imposing their hell on everybody else. And they're loving it. Absolutely loving it. We have a sick government today. Some of you may have heard that the 10 freeway was shut down here in Los Angeles. And the 10 freeway is one of the busiest freeways in the city of Los Angeles. And a lot of people travel it, go down past downtown and all through everywhere. Well, according to a report, there was an explosion under the bridge over this past weekend. And some people are saying that, and I don't know what happened, but some people are saying that it was due to the homeless people living under that bridge and something exploded. I know that the homeless people, who, by the way, are pure evil people and can care less about you or your property or anything else, they feel deserving. And they know that the law is on their side and against the ones who work hard and take care of themselves. Homeless people are some of the nastiest, but not only. The people who take care of the homeless people are the same, too. Evil, destructive people you ever want to see. And the people who take care of them, the Christians, the government, are as bad or worse as they are because they take care of them and they make sure that they stay in their hellhole so that they can take care of them. They can go pray for them. They can go feed them. The government can get them housing, free drugs and free this. Evil serving evil. And it's a mess. Are you going to be in the world or of it? The decision's up on you and you only. No human being can help you out of your hell. Zero. What a mess, huh? Washington Times reported Los Angeles motorists should expect traffic indefinitely as a raging fire closed a major elevated interstate near downtown. Officials couldn't offer a timeline for when the highway might reopen. Watch this from KCAL, KCAL and X.
Firefighters say a pallet yard caught fire around 1:45 Saturday morning under the freeway at Alameda and 14th Street.
They got on scene and they found a large 200 by 200 yard of storage, pallets, vehicles, different kind of materials.
It got so hot, another fire started across the street. Nearly 150 firefighters from 26 companies and one helicopter worked throughout the morning dousing the flames with water. The intense heat broke off concrete, melting steel and guardrails.
There was a lot of vehicles where people live, RVs, that were burned. Several of the makeshift homes for the people experiencing homelessness in this area were destroyed.
California Highway Patrol issued a SIG alert shutting down the freeway between the East LA interchange and Alameda Street. Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency. The freeway closure continues to clog up streets like here at 14th and Alameda. Just look at these cars. They're backed up for blocks.
Amazing. I would not, though I don't have any proof at this time, I would not be surprised if it wasn't caused by homeless. These homeless, no good people living on these bridges and highways and byways. Because they can care less. They'll light up a pipe of fentanyl or whatever right in the midst of dry bushes or whatever. Paper around. They don't care. And all they're once they burn down the property, they'll just move to another location, and the representative will come and give you all kind of reasons why that happened, except the truth. And you'll fall for it. We live in a sick, the earth is hell, but it's the hell that's in you. And you're creating the hell on earth. Anyone that has anger, which is hatred, which is judgment, which is playing God, you're living in hell. You're purely living in hell. And you're blind and can't see. You must return to the Father. There's no way around it. You got to work on you, and you can't make someone else want to change or change. You have to leave them in their hell. I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, your children, your wife, your husband, your so-called friends, your coworker, your government, or whomever. You got to leave them in their hell. God leave them there. He doesn't force them to overcome. Why should you? You can't change anyone anyway. And the government knows that you are blind and can't see and emotional, so they just tell you anything and you vote them in again. CBS has reported Gavin Newsom announced Monday afternoon that a preliminary investigation determined the destructive fire was arson and that it was done and set intentionally. So once they tell you that, whether it's true or not, but once they tell you that, don't you forget a bunch of no-good homeless people live on that bridge? That a bunch of no-good homeless people are under the bridge smoking, lighting up all kinds of drugs, drunk, fighting one another and carrying on. And don't you forget that, the government is the one that keep them under the bridge. And you put the blame somewhere else, right? Now you're just thinking arson fire. And when Governor Newsom run again, you got to vote for him. Or Gavin Newsom, whatever his name. You got to vote for him. And he knows it. You know it. And everybody knows it. California is not getting better. It's getting worse because the people of California vote in the same people. Oh, they're a Democrat. I'm just going to vote Democrat. Or they're a Republican. Even though the Republicans are no different than a Democrat, I'm just going to vote for them anyway. I identify as being a Republican or a Democrat, so that's the only way I'm going to vote. Never mind, they're no good. They're doing nothing for the city at all. Zero. Amazing, huh? What's wrong with y'all? Gavin Newsom went over to China, and he had a hootenanny every time. He felt like the president. He felt like he was representing America. And they showed him the wall, the little animals walking up and down the streets. And he felt good. And so he said to the so-called president of China, y'all come on over to my house. And his house, meaning his city, San Francisco, is a mess. Drug addicts, homeless people, everything, dirty street, crime, carjacking, beating up white people. A mess in San Francisco, everywhere really, but especially in San Francisco. And the people like, Gavin, won't you clean it up? Why can't you clean it up? Oh, I will, don't worry about it. Years go by, don't worry. Y'all just keep voting me in, I'll get to it. Y'all keep voting me in, I'll get to it. And when you drive around, make sure you have more than one person in the car with you. Drive in the middle lane. Watch yourself. We're not going to let the police come and help you. But keep voting for me. I'm going to do it right eventually. Okay, they say. And you complain. What are you complaining for? You get the kind of government you vote in. Look how the blacks have been voting for the Democrats over the last 70 to 80 years, give or take. And they have got nothing from it but free stuff. And that's just enough for them. The Democrats don't feel no ways tired. They go to their churches, they speak like them. I feel no ways tired. I feel like going on. And they applaud, praise Jesus, and they vote for him. And okay, thank y'all for voting for me. Here's some free affirmative action. Here's some free air traffic controller. You don't have to know what you're doing. Just enough to keep you on the plantation. And the blacks keep voting for them. So Gavin Newsom is holding this little event to impress the president of China. The New York Post is reporting drug addicts, dealers, and homeless who have plagued San Francisco downtown have miraculously disappeared this week as the city cleaned up for the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC Summit. Watch it from Fox.
While San Francisco is in the spotlight for the Asia Pacific Economic Conference, city leaders are making sure the city shines.
Tourism is our business here in San Francisco, and we need to focus on making sure that the tourist dollars still come back. The city had gotten a little bit dingy over time.
Scrubbing and power washing is happening all over the city. It's noticeable how clear the streets look and how few homeless encampments there are on major thoroughfares. Just in time for the 20,000 high-profile CEOs and heads of state coming into town next week. Some people say this should be how it's always done.
What about the people who are here year-round, you know, and like local, hardworking, working-class Bay Area folks?
Others welcome the cleanup.
Anything that brings in a positive look on the city of San Francisco is great.
We will continue to do everything we can to maintain cleanliness in our streets.
See how they're lying to you? But they know you're just going to vote for them when this little summit thing is over, because it's all a show. Ain't nothing good coming from it for this country, right? But when it's over, the homeless people will be back. They got them piled up in shelters and deeper down into the neighborhood somewhere so they can look good for cheese. And when it's over, they'll all be right back. And you say, oh, look how dumb those people, oh, nice that the city's looking good. They clean up a little bit. And Gavin Newsom will not clean up for the people who voted for him. And he doesn't have to, because he knows you're dumb enough to keep voting for him. Why should he clean up? It's like a wife that beats her husband or a girlfriend that beats her boyfriend. She beat him because she can get away with beating him. You ain't going nowhere. You're staying, and you're going to love it. So why should she continue to beat you? Or a woman that called the police and lie on you. She got mad and told you to leave, but you wouldn't leave. She called the cops and told them made up stuff. And you got thrown out. And she know you're coming right back, so she can do it. Or a man that involved with a woman that was married before and with children, or not married with children. They know you're going to take care of somebody else's child or children. They ain't worried. You coming back. You ain't going nowhere. And they can be as nasty as they want to you because you'll be back. That's how our government is today. They know that you'll be right back to vote for them. Here's a video of Gavin Newsom promising to end San Francisco homeless crisis. Watch this from X, a compilation.
And if we're going to solve the problem of those that are out on the streets that we define as homeless, we better solve the housing problem if we're going to have an impact. And that's why we established this framework, what we call a 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness in San Francisco.
I always love to say, as California goes, so goes the nation. I mean, we are struggling in this state, housing and homelessness. If we can't solve this encampment issue, if we can't clean up the encampments and address what's happening chronically on our streets, I'm going to be hard-pressed to make a case to the legislature to provide them $1 more. You want to see progress in terms of encampments. You want to see progress in terms of people off the streets. And as the mayor said, you want to see our values represented in that progress. No one's naive. It's not just about sweeping things under the rug or kicking people off the streets and sidewalks and claiming a job well done. That doesn't do justice.
All you have to do is just lie to you like that, and you'll vote for him. You get what you deserve in life, period. It's on earth. Hell is on earth. Most people waited to see if they're going to go to heaven or hell. You don't have to wait to see it. You can look at yourself and you will know right away if you are in hell already or in heaven. It's right here. The heaven is inside and the hell is inside, but outside and you're inside of others. I remember when I first started my nonprofit organization, Bond, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny, 33 years ago, I believe now. And at that time, there was a report out, and I don't remember where it was from or anything. I do remember the report somewhat. It says that of the blacks, what's wrong with the blacks? Of the blacks that was employed, that 80% of them were employed by the government. That was 30-something years ago. Can you imagine that? Meaning that they didn't have it in them to work for private businesses, to build on their own, to do for themselves. And back then I thought, wow, that's stunning that human beings can sink so low in life that they truly give up on themselves. And the reason I say give up because prior to the civil rights movement, which was the worst thing that happened to the blacks, other than abortion itself, prior to that, black people were more independent. They didn't work for the government, for the most part. I remember when I moved out here to Los Angeles, after a while, a bunch of my friends were working for the government, and they were telling me, I was in my 20s, and they were telling me how easy it was to work for the government, that you get a lot of time off, you get a lot of vacation time, you get good money, and you don't have to work that hard. You really sit around all day and do little or nothing. And it sounded so attractive then. And I tried to get a government job, but I couldn't pass the civil service test. I'm like, what the? So I was forced to continue to take care of myself. Thank God he was with me and I didn't know it. According to the Wall Street Journal, we'll become a nation of takers. The Lord knows that's true. We have become a nation of takers. Not makers, but takers. Are you a taker or a maker? I remember when the blacks used to be makers. But there's no sign of that anymore. According to the Wall Street Journal, we'll become a nation of takers, not makers. Today in America, there are nearly twice as many people working for the government. Today in America, where you're supposed to be free to do whatever you want, have a business if you want, work for a private company if you want, buy yourself a house if you want, be independent if you want. Today in America, there are nearly twice as many people working for the government. 22.5 million people working for the government, because the government job is a lazy man's job. It requires no thinking, no nothing. Just show up if you want to. You still get paid. 22.5 million are working for the government in America. Then all of manufacturing. Today in America, there are nearly twice as many people working for the government, 22.5 million. Then in all of manufacturing, 11.5 million. 22.5 work for the government, and manufacturing, 11.5 work. There is an almost exact reversal of the situation in 1960, when there were 15 million workers in manufacturing and 8.7 million collecting a paycheck from the government. In 1960, there was 15 million in manufacturing working, 8.7 million collecting a paycheck from the government. What happened? Oh, I know. They destroyed the men and they sucked the women in by the government and the weak men, mama's boys. And once you get a government job, it's hard to let those jobs go because it spoils you. You just end up doing nothing, little or nothing, and you pay you well, and you just don't have the energy to do anything else because your energy is drained. Earlier than that, most people lived on the farm. I think my producer would tell me 3 out of 4 people lived on the farm. Digital history. In 1900s, about 60% of the population lived on farms in rural areas. So why did everybody flock to the cities? And why did the people who run the cities seduce you from the farmlands to the cities? So you ask, what are they up to nowadays? This is from the Hill. Senator Mullin, a Republican from Oklahoma, challenged the president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters to a fight for charity, reigniting the animosity between them that was on full display during a viral moment at a Senate hearing in March. Watch this from ABC.
Tweeted at me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And greedy CEO who pretends like he's self-made. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. If you want to run your mouth, we can be 2 consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on. Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution, everybody?
No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
You said anytime, any place.
What's your question?
Accept the challenge.
What challenge?
You said anytime, any place. I'm accepting yours, so why don't you come
What
back?
challenge? What challenge are you talking
April
about?
30th. How about we do it for a charity at the Smoking Guns in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
No, we're not going to be
what was the
talking about
challenge?
physical confrontations here.
You want to fight me?
What'd you say about anytime, any place?
And they're charging you up the yang with taxes so that they can fight. 2 beta males, emotional like a woman. Just like their mama. The senator from Oklahoma upset because some dumb teacher union guy tweeted something about him online. Here's an example of a human being preferring the darkness over the light. She is rejecting the light. And it's typical. The light came to save you, and you said, no, that boat is too small. I need an airplane. This is from the Daily Mail. A Georgia County Commissioner was found passed out along the sidewalk by cops before she became unruly with medic trying to provide her care. Watch this from Fox.
Commissioner Felicia Franklin claimed she was drugged at a bar, but police say they didn't find any proof of that. A toxicology report found only alcohol and weed in her system.
Ma'am.
after police released this shocking footage of Clayton County Commissioner Felicia Franklin. The rest of the commission voted Monday to remove her as vice chair of the board. Police say the commissioner passed out on the ground outside the 404 Sports Bar and Grill alone.
Get him out my face. I don't give a Get him out my face. You better.
After a bit more screaming, the wind seems to go out of Felicia's sails, at least for now. Perhaps exhaustion is catching up to her. Even on the verge of sleep, however, she still manages to behave defiantly.
He's trying to help you out. Why are you going to do that to me? I've been trying to help you out, too.
That's a black woman for you. What the? That's a Georgia, according to the report, county commissioner. And she's living in the same hell as every human being are until they overcome it. It doesn't matter that she works as a Georgia commissioner, she still got hell inside of her. And being a Georgia commissioner is not going to solve that problem. And you worship her. She's out of it. Loving her hell. I know when I interview people, I always ask, not always, most of them ask, do you love white people? They can't say I love white people. I love all people. No. Do you love white people? I love all people. No. Do you love white people? Even if white people can't say, most of the time, once in a while they'll say yes. They can't say, white Christians can't say, yeah, I love white people. Once in a while, some guys are strong enough to say it. But white people, they're blaming you for everything. And you sit quietly by and let them blame you. What do you think going to happen? Young people, anger is all over them. Who do you think they're going to attack if that's all they hear, is that you are the problem? You may not have seen this story from the Daily Mail. New footage has emerged of the moment a boy was beaten to death by quote-unquote bullies, I say evil people, in Las Vegas. Watch this compilation.
This video is making the rounds online, showing what's believed to be the fight that happened Wednesday afternoon. Metro officers responding to reports of a student fight across the street from Rancho High School. The investigation revealing the victim got into a physical altercation with 15 people before cops arrived.
Nothing that large, like 3 people maybe, but like 15, I've never heard of that before.
His son says his kid kept to himself and had plans of moving to Austin, Texas with him. Instead, those dreams were shattered.
You can't just retaliate with hate, and get back and revenge all the time. Sometimes you got to talk it out.
Off camera, a neighbor tells us that he helped carry the victim to the campus parking lot. Bostic says he saw the aftermath.
Somebody was laying on the ground, and they were out of commission and incapacitated.
Metro says the victim appeared to be unconscious when school staff performed CPR.
Look at the thuggish blacks beating up one little guy. A bunch of thugs like wild wolves, wild animals. And white people indicate their lives don't matter. They don't even speak up about their own. What's wrong with speaking up in your own country? And if you think that one is bad, ABC is reporting a Louisiana Tech University student is in custody after he allegedly stabbed 4 people in a random act of violence. Ain't no random. On campus, according to the university. Watch this from KCAL.
The women were attacked at the Lambright Sports and Wellness Center around 9 a.m. Monday.
It was literally right there. That's my bathroom window. I heard screaming, and it was loud, but I didn't think anything of it because, it's the Lambright.
One victim was flown to a Shreveport hospital, 2 were taken to a local hospital, and the other refused treatment. According to local authorities, 1 victim was listed in critical condition.
All 4 were either instructors or taking a class
at the Lambright and had exited the building and were either on the sidewalk or in the parking lot when this happened.
The suspect, senior tech student Jacoby Johnson, was arrested just south of the Lambright facility by Tech Police.
This is really like a really rare thing that happens at Louisiana Tech. I've been raised in wrestling. This just never happened. So
Johnson sits in the Lincoln Parish Detention Center charged with 4 counts of attempted second-degree murder.
He ain't going to jail. He'll be out. Because it was white people they killed. He was accused of killing. Remember when this was happening over in Europe? They were letting all these Muslims and blacks from Africa and others into Europe. What did they start doing? Raping and killing the white women. And the men, and we used to report on it here. Now it's in our country. They did the same thing in South Africa and still doing it. And what do white people do? Oh, it's slave. We feel so guilty. They can't help it. How did you get that way? You were not that way when I was growing up. What happened along the roadside? X is reported being indentures and non-binary isn't a logical excuse for drinking and driving. Watch this from TikTok.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Why are you driving in the wrong way of traffic?
No, I just got changed around. I just moved here like 2 months ago.
Okay.
I just got changed around.
Just go ahead and step out.
As an Indigenous person.
Miss Perry?
Well, I'm non-binary, so.
Okay. What do you go by?
It's Kai.
How can I refer to you tonight? Kai? Okay. Hey, I'm smelling alcohol.
I know.
How much have you consumed tonight?
Like probably 3 drinks.
I need to run you. Focus on my finger, please.
I am. You're just like trying to intimidate me.
I don't know how I'm trying to do that. This is the test.
As you know, as an Indigenous person, and there's a bunch of going around. I'm sorry, but.
With your arms by your side, just like this, ma'am.
Can you not call me ma'am, please?
I'm trying my hardest.
Okay, well.
Okay.
It means a lot to me.
I'm trying my
I
hardest.
don't feel like a man, so.
Okay.
It's kind of triggering. But I just wanted to tell you that I suffer from really bad anxiety, especially with generational trauma and PTSD around white people and cops. Like, don't!
Listen to me. Don't resist.
Don't! You're being
Come
a
here.
white man and
Come here.
don't! I followed all of your like, as an Indigenous person, like, you guys. You guys are scaring me!
She playing. She was just joking. You being a white man, stop. You being a white man, stop doing that. I'm Indigenous first. I'm traumatized. And you being white. She look white to me. Maybe they're white Indians. What a mess. Tell me hell is not on earth working through human beings. You have a choice. You can stay in your hell on earth, or you can come out of it and live in paradise on earth, heaven on earth. You don't have to stay in hell. The way been made. Want me to show you a beta?
Sure.
A real beta?
Yeah.
Hassan, play The View. This person.
Asked me at the end of the documentary, who do you think you are? Are you a writer, you producer, a director? And I said, I'm Tyler Perry, Maxine's baby. I'm my mother's son.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's most important to me. And when I'm walking around or whatever I'm doing, I'm carrying her in my spirit. She passed.
It was so well done.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Really,
I'm very proud of them. They did a great job.
when I met Maxine through all of it, I didn't know her.
Yeah.
But it shows just how much you endured as a child. You
Okay, wait a minute. That one took me, but you met,
Yeah.
To say that you met her through that, it takes me somewhere because she, this woman endured so much pain.
Yeah.
And she didn't have some legacy, but she had me, and to say that I was able to introduce her to you, you got me there, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. You met my mother through You really got me there. I'm sorry. I just imagine a woman who's lived her entire life with so much pain, and she was always worried about everybody else. And I think I watched her get sick. I watched her get cancer. I watched her have all of these things because her intention was, are you happy? Are you okay? She never put herself on the list.
We are blessed with our mothers.
That's right. That's right.
We are blessed.
You curse with your mama, dummy. Anyone that lacks wisdom, and most people do, lack love. In Proverbs 19:8, this is Bible Thumper Thursday, Proverbs 19:8. The one who gets wisdom loves life. The one who gets wisdom loves life. You ain't gonna get no wisdom. You can't make it happen. There's nothing you can do to get wisdom but let go of knowledge. Wisdom only comes from God. No other person can give it to you. They can point the way, a wise person will point the way back to the Father so you can receive it. But most people, 99.999.9, but not all, 0.99, not all percent of human beings does not want to let go of knowledge. They hold on to it for dear life, and all they get is dear death. Misery, fear, worry, doubt, loneliness, suicidal thoughts, insecurity, revenge, gossiping, jealousy, envy, and strife. They hold on to knowledge for dear life, and they get nothing but death. The one who gets wisdom loves life. The one who cherishes understanding will soon prosper. There's nothing like wisdom. It's crazy how amazing wisdom is. It's a whole nother life. And it sets you off from the world. Knowledge keeps you deeper in the world, and wisdom close you off, protect you from the world. Isn't that amazing? And yet, in my country, that's all they push is knowledge. For $100,000, you can get knowledge. You can get a piece of paper to learn how to hate your fellow man, to learn how to hate the white people and blame them. You don't even have to take the test. We'll let you in if you're black, if you're a person of color, and give you knowledge of how to hate. And you're like, oh, okay, thank you. I don't want to take the white man test. It's too hard. That's racist, they say. According to Proverbs 16:16, how much better to get wisdom than gold? How much better to get wisdom than gold? To get insight rather than silver. To get insight rather than silver. That's deep. It's interesting, too, because once you start to get wisdom, you want more and more and more. And all the things, people, places, and things that were once important to you, it's like naturally become unimportant without even effort. You don't make that happen. If you try to make it happen, you're making it worse. Wisdom will automatically become first in your life. Because it looks like there's nothing but that after you gain wisdom. How much better to get wisdom than gold? To get insight rather than silver. Proverbs 11:2. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility come wisdom. What do you want? You love your pride. You love your ego, which is of the devil, by the way, it's not yours. Or do you want wisdom? Do you want love? Matthew 7:24. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on a rock. Is your foundation built on a rock or emotional sand? Is it easy for you to become emotional? Are you allowing other emotional people to convince you that emotions are good? Anyone that convinces you that emotions are good and that you should be emotional hates you. That's your enemy. Get a trade. Don't let the people at the university convince you that you need to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to go to this stupid school to brainwash you. And when you finish, you have nothing but debts and a big ego. Getting a degree don't mean a thing. I promise you that. Really. It has no meaning at all. This is from YouTube. Strangers rank their intelligence. Strangers rank their intelligence. We brought 6 people together to rank themselves based on perceived intelligence. We had them complete an IQ test to compare the results. Watch this from Jubilee. Amazing.
Sade, I'm 24. I work in finance. I have a bachelor's degree. I went to Yale.
I'm Tyler. I'm 21. I'm a high school graduate, and I work in the Marine Corps.
Maria. I'm 30 years old. I have my PhD in cancer biology, and I work in a biotech industry. Grad school, I went to University of South Carolina, and undergrad, I went to University of Florida.
I think intelligence is better defined as your adaptability and your problem-solving skills more than it is your education. The formal education definitely helps, but I don't think it's in any way essential.
So what is the most essential?
So the most essential thing would probably be common sense.
Besides my education and background, I feel like I have high emotional intelligence, I'm aware of my surroundings.
Why don't you guys rank each other from 1 to 6, including yourself, and give reasons why you want to do what you're doing?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
2,
me, I don't know. PhD, cancer biology scientist. I work in a biotech company. We make COVID-19 testing kits, stuff like that. And then 6. Tyler, he ranked last for me personally because the way he carries himself.
So number 1 is Raymond. Number 2 would be Kaylee. Number 3 will be Tyler. And number 4 would be Shada. Number 5 is Sean. And number 6 is Maria.
Oh. Her ego was crushed. She thought she was just, I'm a biologist, I'm a chemist, biologist, and radiation. And the dumbest went up there. Ladies, wake up before it's too late. They're ripping you off, and they're stroking your egos. Common sense is the right way to go. And anyone that has a degree lack common sense. And that boy with the common sense, he went to high school, went to the Marine or somewhere. He was number 3, right, Sean? Oh, Sean on the phone. He was, I think, number 2 or 3 there. And the one that thought she had it all was the last. The dumbest went up there. And you pay your money to these dumb people telling you, I'm going to give you a degree, we're going to call it a biology degree, and go to all these different schools so you can brag and feel good and not see how dumb you really are. She ended up laughing. She thought she was first. She didn't want any common sense. And the way Tyler thinks is the way men used to think. Basic common sense. And that doesn't cost any money. You don't need a piece of paper for that. The National Center for Education Statistics says that in 2020 and 2021, 77% of public school teachers were female. 2020 through 2021, 77% of public school teachers was female. The gates of hell is open everywhere, and it keeps the sons of God in hell, starting at home with the mothers. According to Yahoo, the California school teachers who posted a video to social media of herself, a California school teacher who posted a video of herself, a California school teacher who posted a video to social media of herself, including students to say the Pledge of Allegiance to a so-called pride flag, folks, has been removed from her classroom. In the good old day, men were running the schools for the most part. And if they did have female teachers, and there were some, the principal was the man. The woman, the teacher, had to listen to the male principal. But watch this, what's happening now as a result of the women taking over, or you giving it over to them. Watch this from Fox.
So my class decided to stand but not say the words. Totally fine. Except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable.
She starts that TikTok video by saying that during the Pledge of Allegiance, she gives students the option to stand and say the words. She goes on to share that her class does not have an American flag and that she took it down during the pandemic because it made her uncomfortable. In this video, Pitson says a student asked why there was no flag recently. She says she tells the student she would try to find it, but then admits she's lying.
In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
Again, this video is now under investigation by the Newport Mesa Unified School District.
Wow. Send that woman back to Iraq. You see why we shouldn't have these foreigners in our government, in our schools, in our workplaces? Look what they bring. And you send your children off to these schools anyway because the mothers don't love the children. They got to go to work. They want to feel like they're doing something important. They want to stroke their ego and the hell with the children. And then the first thing they do, we love the children. No, you don't. You're lying. According to X, a Texas elementary school teacher says she wore Progress Pride flag decor because it helps kids figure themselves out sooner and save lives. Watch this from X.
This is for all the LGBTQ plus teachers out there. I work in the 4th largest school district in the United States, and I just got back from some professional development, and this is what I picked up on the swag table. It is a pride lanyard to kind of keep your keys and all your stuff on. And it's got the logo and all this stuff. So I just think this is super cool because as LGBTQ plus teachers, we get called lots of names, and not by the students. It is by mean people on the internet. I can't imagine being a kid and seeing somebody wearing this. I think I would have just figured myself out sooner. I would have had more confidence sooner. I would have felt better about myself sooner. And this honestly saves lives.
See how wicked? You can see in her eyes nothing but evil. And you send your children off to those people every day because you got to go to work. You don't care about the man's children or child. As long as you get your ego stroked, send them off to daycare center. Send them off to, and get mad with the government if they don't finance the government so you can drop them off. I remember when the Chinese virus thing was happening and the kids had to stay home with the parents. And the mother was bitching about it. There are school teachers who said, you're just using us as a daycare center. You don't care about your children. She was 100% right about that.
I work in the Marine Corps.
Maria, I'm 30 years old. I have my PhD in cancer biology.
I think intelligence is better defined as your adaptability and your problem-solving skills more than it is your education.
Yeah.
Grad school, I went to University of South Carolina, and undergrad, I went to University of Florida.
What an idiot.
You guys rank each other from 1 to 6, including yourself?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, me, I don't know. PhD, cancer biology scientist. I work in a biotech company. We make COVID-19 testing kits, stuff like that. Tyler, he ranked last for me personally because the way he carries himself.
So number 1 is Raymond. Number 2 would be Kaylee. Number 3 will be Tyler. And number 4 would be Shada. Number 5 is Sean, and number 6 is Maria.
The dumbest one up there.
Definitely helps, but I don't think it's in any way essential.
So what is the most essential?
So the most essential thing would probably be common sense.
I rest my case. Common sense ain't common no more. It's not common sense to go and get a degree. That ain't common sense. That's idiotic. That's a waste of money and time. That's ego building, expensive ego building. That's what that's all about.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
What's that thing with Ben Laden letter?
I don't know much about it, but he had maybe a 2-page letter to America, reportedly or allegedly.
Allegedly, because we don't know if it's true or not. Huh?
I guess The Guardian had it up, and then they took it down
What's
because
The
it went
Guardian?
viral. The Guardian is a far-left foreign outlet based in, like, UK or something.
Oh, okay.
And so a whole bunch of people on TikTok, girls mostly that I saw, women, were like, oh, my gosh, this is justified. It's just resistance. It's terrorism is just in the eye of the beholder or something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I heard something about it off and on, and I thought about if that's true, if Bin Laden wrote the letter and these people are carrying on about it, I realized that is ice cream compared to the things to come. It's going to get worse before it get better. I keep saying before it get better, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And I realized the reason it's going to get worse because nobody raising their children anymore, for the most part.
Yeah.
The mother out trying to pretend to be a man, she can get 2 hoops and a holler about the kids at all. It's totally about herself.
I mean, look at how the masses of young people are accepting the LGBT stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't used to accept that stuff.
They don't have any
Abortion.
other choice because their parents don't care about them. And the father don't care either because if he did, he would make the mother stay home and watch over his children so that the world can't deceive them in a way. So I don't blame the schools. I don't blame the government. I don't blame
TikTok.
I don't blame Uber or YouTube, whatever.
That's right. They're trying to say that social media is harming young people's mental health.
That social media is?
Yeah, because social media is meant to be pull you in and addict you.
What's harming mental health, what's causing so-called mental health, is the lack of love that mothers have for children today.
Yeah.
And even those mothers who are protesting at the school boards and Mama for Children and all that kind of stuff.
Moms for Liberty.
It's all ego. They are lying to get on TV and pretend they care. Because if they cared about the children, they would stay home and raise the children. And when the children go out into the world, they wouldn't be deceived. But these women, 99.9% of mothers can care less about the children. And they are lying when they're protesting at the school board meetings. They're lying when they pretend to be upset at the teachers. They are lying when they pretend to be joining rallies and things to do something about it. It's all an act. Because if the mothers were to stay home and raise the man's children and the men were strong enough to make the mother stay home with them or not make babies with them, this stuff will end just like that. But the mothers use the schools and the government programs and everything as daycare centers. So it's the parents' fault. If it is true about the Bin Laden thing, it is totally the parents' fault. It ain't Bin Laden fault. It ain't YouTube fault. It ain't Zigzag fault. TikTok fault. It's the fault of the parents. It starts in the home. And kids are traumatized first in the home, and the world just take over where the parents leave off. So all this acting and carrying on and joining clubs and pretending you care is just an act. Ain't nothing real about it. It's amazing. But anyway.
Over on buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk, someone bought you a coffee. Jesse, that degree is just a dumb piece of paper, quote unquote, until it's time for you to lay out down on the operating table. I bet you want to know that your doctor has that dumb piece of paper before he operates on you. Or would it be okay if he just went to a trade school? You can make a point about degrees without generalizing everything.
If he went to school to trade school to learn how to be a doctor, a trade as a doctor, I wouldn't have any problem with that. It would probably take him less time and less money. And he would probably be the best doctor around. Because the doctors who are going to these schools, they don't care. They're uneducated, and they'll give you medication for the rest of your life. They'll just give you medication without saying, one day you don't have to take this. I know people who are taking medication and haven't seen their doctor in a couple of years. All they do is call pharmacists, or pharmacy would do an automatic refill over and over. You don't have to call the doctor. The pharmacy will contact you to say your medication is ready. Your refill is ready. Automatically without having to. So these doctors ain't no good either. They'll probably be better as a trade doctor. And then on top of that, they got these females pretend to be doctors. They're pushing the men doctors out of the picture, and they got these females pretending to be doctors. Are you okay with that? They got educated. Anybody can go to school and pay for a piece of paper. Even the blacks are becoming air traffic controllers and so-called doctors and things like that. You know they haven't earned it. You had to lower the SAT score. You have to lower the standard. And they got in simply because they were black. You want that to operate on you? I rest my case.
It's funny, he generalized you, accusing you of generalizing everything.
Right. Amazing. My country is not coming back. And now they're trying hard. They're trying overtime, double time, to tell men that it's okay to be emotional and that you should be emotional. Even though emotions are evil and it's selfish and it's all about self, it's never about the other person. But they're pushing it because they want you blind and under their control. That's why they want you to be emotional. Why are they pushing it not to be emotional? Look how emotional the world is today. And look at the violent crime and husband and wives and boyfriend and girlfriends fighting. Nobody get along, but they're very emotional. And they call evil love. YouTube. People on men crying. These are people on men crying and being emotionally vulnerable. Men, don't ever let that word come out your mouth, applying it to yourself. A man is not supposed to be vulnerable. That doesn't even sound right. Does that sound feminine? I'm just so vulnerable. I want to be vulnerable. And the woman tell you, yeah, be vulnerable. And then she hates you for it. YouTube, people on men crying and being emotionally vulnerable in front of women. Watch this from LAHWF. Watch this.
Has a guy ever cried in front of you? Yes.
Was it a turnoff?
Not really.
Should men be more emotionally vulnerable?
Yes.
Is it a turnoff when a guy cries?
No.
I don't think it matters, and I think it's good to be vulnerable.
It's definitely comforting when a guy knows how he feels emotionally and is not afraid to break down those walls, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. It shouldn't be a problem.
I think everyone has an opportunity to be vulnerable or should have an opportunity to be vulnerable regardless of your gender. One thing that really stood out to me is how sensitive he was.
Do you feel like it's a bad idea to be emotionally open in front of a woman that you're dating?
No, not at all. I think showing emotion is probably the best way for someone to get to know you. I mean, I'm a pretty emotional guy. I'll admit that right now. So.
I can tell. You ever been emotionally open or vulnerable in front of a woman?
Sure. Yes.
Just your wife or?
Yes.
Has a guy ever cried in front of you?
Yes.
Was it a turnoff?
I feel like it made us closer, actually.
Actually, I think that it shows great strength to cry.
There's nothing wrong with a man crying.
Is it okay for a guy to cry in front of a woman?
Yes.
Yes.
That's sweet.
Should men be more emotionally vulnerable?
Yes.
Go for
Please. I think that you should live genuinely and be authentic, and it's okay to have emotions.
Wow. They pushing hell right through the woman, and the men are falling for it. There's not one emotional woman that has peace. You can bank on that. Every woman that is emotional is catching hell. She has no peace. She has fear and everything. And every man who take on that identity has no peace. Yet they call evil good. Oh, yeah, oh, please. Please. And then when you become emotional like the woman, because that's what it is, they hate you for it. Because they're looking for a strong man to bring them out of the hell that they're in. And this is why God said every time you listen to the woman, you suffers. Every man that listens to mama or any woman tell them that they should be vulnerable is suffering. You listen to the woman, you will suffer. There was a day a woman would never be able to tell a man he should be vulnerable. You need to cry. And then they hate you for it. And man, you are weak, blind, and downright stupid to be emotional. That's why God said you must return to the Father. Overcome the emotion, overcome the mama, and return to the Father. He ain't said return to mama. He said get away from mama. And you're returning to mama. You let some weak female tell you that you should be emotional. Be vulnerable. And they're loving it because they see that you're weak and pathetic and they can control you. That's why they want you to be that way. TMZ has reported that Olivia and Hammy, 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 rose to fame in 2020 for their video together with their hilarious costumes and comedic sketchy. Olivia, the corgi, has died, according to her owner, who broke down in tears. I can't buy my boy. Broke down in tears, telling fans about her recent healthy emergency. Watch this from Hammer and Olivia. I've never heard all this, but Hammer and Olivia. Watch this.
Hey, friends. I have some really tough news to share. We had to say goodbye to Olivia last night.
What a beta. Why would he go on camera and make a fool out of himself like that?
There was an emergency.
Look at her.
And she couldn't empty her kidneys. And we just didn't want her to suffer. She passed in peace.
She passed
no
in
pain.
peace. She ain't never had conflict, idiot.
We're crushed. She was my best friend.
Is he playing? He gotta be playing. That's how he playing.
Nah, that's dead serious. I feel the pain.
Are you serious?
I mean,
You mean what?
anyway.
No, that was a joke. That guy was on video acting out. That was an act.
Nah, that was real.
No, that was an act.
No, Jones.
Huh?
Jones said that video got to be a joke.
Joel, he said that video got to be a joke, and he's right. That guy was act. I'm pretty sure that guy was acting. Ain't no way he would go on video and make a fool of himself like that.
No, that was real deal.
So if what's your dog name?
Sandy.
Sandy died, you cry?
Oh man, I'm making a film. Forget a video. I'm making a whole epilogue. Probably. I don't know.
Are you retarded?
It's sad.
What's sad about that?
I don't know, you know. It's like going to war, you know. You gotta.
It's a dog.
I know, but brother in arms.
What?
Brother in arms.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I think it's some sort of army term.
Oh, you don't even know what I mean. Men, this ain't normal. This ain't normal, men. This is why my country is never coming back. The men have made a home in the spirit of mama, and they're getting involved with these women who are mama, and they're keeping them in the hell. 1 Corinthians says, 1 Corinthians 16:13. 1 Corinthians 16:13 says, be on your guard. Stand firm in the faith. Be courageous. Be strong. Be on your guard. Stand firm in the faith. Be courageous. Be strong. There is no courageousness in that act, or strength, or faith. It was all evil. But I still believe that guy was acting. He looked like he was acting. Did it look like he was acting, Hate?
It sounded like acting, but
it looked like acting too.
But one cannot tell because when one's really going through that, they're acting too. They're just acting up.
That's a good point, but he need to come back on and say, I was just playing. He should make another video. I was just playing.
He not though.
He not though?
He not.
That's all black.
That's real pain.
He not though. But why?
I mean,
I can't even figure out why.
It's a sad
It's just
situation.
a dog. That dog don't love you, and you don't love the dog. Who let the dogs out? Stop acting, folks. Let's bring back America. Stop being like the women.